Do-do-do. Hello, everybody. We are here tonight, a little late. We accommodate many interviews. People live in different parts of the world, and we accommodate to everybody out there, or at least we try to. Right? We do have jobs on the side. Tonight, Friday night. I know you're probably out drinking if you're here in New York. You're probably at the bars with your headphones on, listening to Supernet Radio, and sharing it with the person next to you. Say, hey, listen to this. Can I buy you a drink? Something along those lines. And we bring to you today House. His name is House. He's not 100% anonymous. He's a very trusted person within the Supernet community, and he is the mastermind behind BTCOR. I like to call it BitCore. Say hello, House. Welcome to the show.
Hey! Thanks, Lutz. Pleasure to be here, and thanks for the invitation. So great to finally get my voice out there and on the airwaves and say hi to everybody, so we can put a voice to the name. And
I love your accent.
Oh, really? Yeah, well, it's a bit mixed up at the moment. I'm a Kiwi living in Aussie, so don't give me too much hard time for that. But I'm slowly picking up the lingo. G'day, mate, and that type of stuff. But yeah, I'm born and raised in New Zealand.
Can you say?
I hear a lot of.
Can you say that's not a knife? This is a knife.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
It's almost exact, man. Wow, that's awesome. You're gonna have to do a Crocodile Dundee Part 3.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all good.
What made you start BTCOR? When did you start out in the crypto world, you yourself?
Yeah, I guess I guess I started off about 3 years ago when Bitcoin started to get a little bit more known. It was still a very close circle back in those days. I'd heard about it and saw a few write-ups and looked into it, but because my main focus was on I did a bit of activism, and I was.
You were an activist. Sort of, did you get in
trouble?
Yeah.
No, I didn't get in trouble. I was, a keyboard activist, I'd say, rather than out there on the streets protesting. But I was protesting in my own way, seeing how illegitimate governments, banking, courts, and general multinational corporations, how kind of corrupt they are and how embedded they are all in together. So I was trying to find a way to kind of bring this information to, at least do my part in bringing the information out to the masses. And because, I've always been one to want to support the underdog and stand up for them, and be the champion. Not that I'm that smart, I'm certainly I'm not no technical genius. I'm no computer genius. I think I've got a pretty good handle on things in the crypto world, purely because I just looked into it from that standpoint as a form of liberation. So when I saw what Bitcoin was about, I really did understand at the outset that it was more of a platform or a protocol than a currency, but I did see that the currency being a great benefit.
Right.
And
you got in pretty early.
I just followed it along for a while, and just to finish on that quick topic, I followed it on for a little while, and then decided to invest in a little bit. I think I bought around 120 when it was $120 on its as it started. Oh, in fact, I think it was even less than that. So yeah, that started me on the road to learning about crypto. As I said, about 3 years ago.
3 years ago is a long time ago. You must have got in early.
Well, it was relatively early. But it's been around for a little while now. It's grown a lot in the crypto world, not necessarily Bitcoin. But yeah, it was one thing that piqued my interest. As I said, I'm activist in a lot of other areas, and and it's just slowly swallowed up um, uh, my activism,
Okay.
and I'm seeing crypto as a way to do this because I was getting a
Right.
bit too. There was information coming out that I grabbed a hold of, and then we'd have press releases in Australia saying, well, in fact, if any of you journalists write about this, we're going to prosecute you. And one
Oh
particular
Jesus.
example is securrency. And so if any journalist out there writes about the securrency scandal, which is inside the Reserve Bank of Australia, they can be prosecuted. So, and I started sending letters to government, to the
Right.
Governor General, to
Right.
the Federal Police Commissioner, to the Minister for Home Affairs, to the Attorney General, Federal Attorney General, Solicitor General, Prime Minister, our local administrator, and I gave them pretty much, um, uh, I pretty much told them that I don't believe in their system. I think it's corrupt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Same
don't,
reason.
I don't
Me too.
recognise you guys as a legitimate governance form of governance,
Nice.
so I resigned from my position as a ward of the state, for lack of a better description. So from that point, I figured, and then terrorism started coming out, and then so they started sending having courses, advertising for courses up here in the territory where I am, for people to start learning about terrorism and how you can be involved and help mitigate the potential acts. And then the terrorism seemed to morph into um, cryptography, and now um, encryption is basically illegal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you're hiding stuff from them. They don't like that.
yeah. So
They
as
they
I
they,
start to
they
see
don't have.
these things come out, and because I was so active in saying my part and putting out this information on my various websites, I'm a web developer as well, and I started to kind of feel that I was getting a bit too close to the fire, and so I kind of had the big discussion with my wife and the family that, well, pretty much it gave me the ultimatum. you know, we want you to stay with us. We don't want you to end up in Guantanamo Bay, and
Right.
you've got a family here, and you can't go saving the world and
Yeah.
leaving us behind, basically.
And
So I
that's the
guess I
double
made the
edge.
promise. I made the promise to kind of stop doing that so full on. So I could see the
Yeah.
ramifications were going to be quite severe. So, and then I just really looked into cryptocurrencies, cryptography. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily encryption because it's well above my head, but I can see all the benefits of uh, these protocols, and
Right.
I kind of just learned from there and taken it up. And so I decided to, wrapping it up just
Mm-hmm.
quickly into BTCOR, I decided to, okay, this is how I can use um, these platforms to make a bit of a change in the world for good, and put a moral color on it, so that we're doing this for the right reasons, not
Right.
just for making a shitload of money and driving around Lamborghinis, but being able to share some wealth around to people who really, really need it. And at the same time, provide the information like I was doing with my activism, using these platforms so that we can, you know, create a community that's on the cutting edge of technology,
Right.
but which is available to everybody. You know,
Yes.
anybody with a phone, a smartphone
And more
can.
importantly, gives people control.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I think that ties up, just wraps up quickly what got me, why I started up BitCore.
So you have good
Um,
reasons to keep what you do anonymous. Also,
yeah, to a certain extent, you know, I'm not scared of them. I'm not scared of them. If God wants me to go that way, so be it. You know,
well,
I have
well,
to
it's
do that. I do have my children, my wife to think about, so
exactly yeah.
I'm a little bit careful, but it's not going to stop me.
Right, and neither would it me. But you know, when a cop pulls me over, I tell him I don't give him permission to pull me over, and he looks at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah, right. Am I under
Because
arrest? No,
I,
well then I'm free to go.
I
No,
have,
you're not. Go into this bag. Well, am I under arrest? Are you detaining me?
yeah, exactly. He wants to look in
Yeah,
my car. I have the tinted windows and the doors closed.
right.
And he's looking in with the flashlight, trying to see something. I'm like, well, you could. I don't give you permission to search my car, so you might want to get your chief officer here. Call whoever you have to.
That's
And
right.
at that point, when they have nothing to say, I say, can you let me? So can I go now? Can I? And I just keep saying it. Can I go now?
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
good if you find a reasonable police officer, and I'd venture to say most police officers are reasonable, just like military. They're reasonable people, got a head on their shoulders. But
Well,
there is obviously the bad apples in every industry. But because they've got the guns, doesn't matter. You know, logic doesn't really play a part in it. They just want the authority, and
listen. I have a I I have this theory. When the shit hits the fan, and they try telling officers to detain their neighbors,
yeah,
right? That's not going to go so well because
it's not
they're
going to go through.
they're people and they only make what 40,000-50,000 a year, maybe 30,000 a year here.
Yeah,
I mean, they're gonna say fuck this job. I quit. I'm not detaining
well,
my neighbor.
if you can,
I'm not bringing
yeah,
my friends in. For what? What did they do? They said, worst case scenario, they smoked a little marijuana, and you want me to rat them out? You out of your mind?
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if
But there's that famous, there's a poem about first they came for the, what was it? First they came for the Christians or something. And, I wasn't a Christian, so I didn't worry me. And then they came for the blacks, and
right,
I wasn't a black, so didn't care. And on and on it goes down until it comes to them, and but there's nobody left to save them. So what is it? Stockholm syndrome, I think we live in today,
right,
where most people live in that paradigm where we kind of we're the house slave or the field slave, and but maybe the house or the field slave master is in charge of looking after all the other field slaves. The police, for example, some of those bad apples.
right.
They're in charge of looking after the rest of the field slaves, but they don't realize that they're a slave themselves to the system, and they just keep us in our role, um, not realizing that they're in their own role, and it's just a perpetual kind of motion that keeps us all suppressed. In the meantime, the masters
Right.
are living large and having a great time feeding off us. We're food, aren't we? At the end of the day, we're their food. We support them, and we're in this false paradigm thinking we're free. Just, it's just so much more than what meets the eye, and we're certainly not educated to understand that. And we've taken away our critical thinking, Any civics was long gone, way back in the 70s. Oh, no, in fact, well before that. You were learning about civics. In fact, it
Right.
wasn't in America. You guys were pretty much all lawyers. You understood civics, and you couldn't be prosecuted by the crown back then because you were all kind of understanding what liberty was
Yeah.
and
Well.
freedom was.
Well, and that was, that was a time when people actually owned their land with allodial title.
Yeah, yeah.
Now
Allodial
nobody owns
title.
their land.
I tried that method. No, I've tried a few methods, but the allodial title thing is exactly right. Everywhere you go up here, it's crown land here, crown land there.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, back in the day, crown land was for the people. They were saving it as reserved for the people. Well, the people are here. So what people are you saving it for? Oh, it's the next generation. Next generation comes, it's still for the next generation. So nobody actually gets it. And then eventually they sell this crown land into councils and into government to build, or to developers to build more houses and more units. And
Right.
and we live in this highly inflated system where we're just in a perpetual debt cycle, paying back something that was already yours to begin with. It's just mental.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
is.
They took all the land, and now they try to sell it back, or they hold on to it because they know how valuable it is. That's
Yeah,
what gives them power. Property gives you power.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
People don't understand the concept of property, and that's the problem.
Yes.
When they buy, for example, when they buy a house, they go, oh, I bought this piece of property. No, no, you bought a piece of real estate. It's not property. It's very
Yeah.
different.
Well,
You only
you buy.
own what's on top of it.
Yeah, that's right. You only own the bricks and mortar. The land is not yours.
Yeah, if you find oil, it's not yours. Yeah,
That's
so
right. And that's why all this legalese and all this paperwork that's been manifested to trick us into believing.
yeah, yeah.
Um, we
Real,
sign these documents, which gives away all our rights.
and
But
that's
there's no alternative.
and that's part of that conversation we had earlier with teaching your children. There's certain things they don't teach you, and that's a problem.
Yeah,
There's certain
yeah,
freedom. Like I never knew. Everything I know I've taught myself.
yeah.
School teaches
That's
you
right.
the government stuff, the government ways. They don't tell you, oh, real estate is different than property. I wouldn't never known. So it's your car. You don't own your car. You don't. You
Yeah. Try,
why do you pay a registration fee if you own your
that's right.
car?
Exactly. The same with your house.
Yeah.
Try not paying the rates. You'll find out who the
Yeah,
house belongs to.
if you own your property, or you think you own your property, why you pay property tax? Wh-
Yeah.
Why? If you build a house next to your house on your so-called property, why do you pay more taxes for that? Why does your tax increase? Isn't it your land? Isn't it your property? Right. So it's not your property, because if it's your property, you'd be able to do whatever the hell you want.
Well, I think yeah, it comes down to this whole citizen business, and being rather than just a common person or people. I shouldn't use person because that's been raped and pillaged. Person is actually a corporation. It's people,
Right.
as defined in your Declaration of Independence, is an entity that is not a citizen. So, look, for example, God made people, and people made government, the government made the citizen. So, whenever you operate as a citizen with any of your government-issued ID, you're actually an employee, and you have to follow the rules of the corporation or your government. So, this is why all our rights are gone. We have no common law rights anymore because everybody identifies as being a citizen, which is a ward of the state or an
Well,
employee of the corporation, United States of America Incorporated or Australia Incorporated. And you can actually find these corporations on the American Securities Exchange. Commission. It's called Edgar. You can actually see that they're incorporated.
Right.
So yeah, whenever you're coming from a perspective of being a citizen, cop pulls you over, asks you for your ID, shows your driver's license. Immediately, you show him that you're a ward of the state and have to follow the rules of the corporation. So there's not a lot you can do from that perspective. The only way to get around that is to become a people and be separate from government, no longer being an employee or a ward. And this is what I did when I sent these letters in to all the government departments and to the Governor General saying, I'm no longer one of yours. I
Right.
belong to myself.
Well, it's and this is what it comes down to. This is why we choose to remain, or some people, choose to remain either fully anonymous or what they do somewhat anonymous, because there's people out there looking to put their hand in your cookie jar.
Yeah,
It's not fair. It's not fair that they take a third of my taxes, one third of my paycheck, and it doesn't benefit me at all. Not at all. My roads look like shit.
yeah, no, that's right.
I mean, I just put in the 2 new tires in the last 2 months.
What's crazy, yeah, it's crazy to think that people still think that their taxes goes to pay for the services that they use.
Right.
We
That
don't. I
that
mean,
comes
it's
out of
obvious today that government is borrowing more and more money to pay for all these services, and then they print money out of absolutely nothing using these junk bonds, and so all our taxes just go to pay for the interest on the debt. So for anybody to think that their taxes goes to pay for these services, they're living in a fantasy land. And going back to anonymity, all that is really the default mechanism that is current. So people are just finding out how to get out of the system and just realizing that the only way to do that in today's terminology is by being anonymous.
right.
That just
Mhm.
is not being a citizen anymore. And when we can make that correlation again and realize that we're a people, not a citizen, that's the anonymity that we're looking for. So
Right.
we'll bridge that. We will bridge that very soon.
Right.
There's going to be a big crash, and it's not far away. I give it maybe 2 weeks. Not
I,
far away.
I would say we're just humans, but we know humans means monsters, so we don't want to go there.
Yeah, well, human is just the color of a man, isn't it?
Right.
Hue, man. So we're a
Right.
color of a man. So we're not actually a man,
Right.
but that's what we are. That whenever we're not a man, or color of a man, a human or a person, we're no longer the flesh and blood entity that has a living, breathing, as a living, breathing
Right.
entity with
It's something
um,
else.
there's nothing that the government made, so they can't control that, but they can control the citizen for sure.
Right. So going back to a BT Core,
Yes.
uh, I know there's a lot of changes going on right now in BT Core.
Yeah. Look, we're still talking about that, and as you know, in
Right.
the boardrooms, trying to figure out our way through because regulations and
And
the powers that be obviously just they're finding it pretty tough now to find the money and the resources to pay for all the crazy shit that they're doing.
right.
So whatever they can do to stop us
Also,
um, from going forward on these new platforms
right.
and contain cash flow or monetary flow or means of exchange, they're going to do it because they're in deep trouble.
Right. And
So they will do whatever and because they've got the guns and all the media outlets or pretty much everything
they
in
don't
their
have
power.
they don't have my gun.
No, right. Well, you're lucky. You guys can still get guns, but
No,
you can't get guns
no, I
here. They took
can't.
them a long time ago.
No, I can't.
Yeah, you can't.
No, you get. I mean, you could if you go through all the registrations and permits and stuff, but
Yes.
technically, if it's inherited, which it was to me when my father died,
I see.
and that's how I have them. I mean, so
Oh, okay.
they can't, and that's how most of the world, the U.S. The U.S. has a lot of guns. It's impossible to get them all off the street because back in the day everybody had one.
Yeah.
So everyone, they've all been passed down to people, and you can't. So they can't what they do sometimes is they open up like a registration day where you could go and hand in your gun for some cash. I mean, like that's the worst idea I've ever heard. And you actually see people on a line giving in their gun for a little bit of cash. Are you kidding me? Like what are you gonna do when a bad person and that's the problem here. People need to understand that not everybody's bad.
Of course not.
I'm not a bad person. So
That's just
and I grew up in
media.
a bad neighborhood. All right, my house was robbed so many times, and the cops were always there like 20 when it was all over. When it's all over, when my father already beat up the guy that came through the door, and
Yeah.
and all the junkies that used to come to my door, they could have been dangerous. And and that we lived like across the street from a park, so we would get it often. And if I didn't, I actually, being a kid, I actually felt safe that my father had a gun. And it's I not that I didn't believe that he was like had superpowers. I always thought he was really strong, but having the gun made him a lot stronger.
It's a highly contentious issue with the guns, but I think the only reason that you guys aren't fully under military, what's it called, military control, martial law is because you've still got guns outstanding. There's a few
Right,
people who say that, for example, Alex Jones says, Hitler took the guns, Stalin took the guns,
right,
Castro took the guns.
yep,
As soon as they take the guns, it's over.
yeah.
So
As soon
I
as they
think
get
that's
them
been,
all, yeah.
yeah. And
You
it's
have
like,
no power left. You have nothing left.
right.
They could walk onto your. They have no fear of walking in and taking whatever the hell they want, taking away your children. There's no fear anymore.
Yeah.
Where these days, and to even get on that topic, since we're kind of going into a liberty phase here.
Yeah.
Marriage. I don't believe in marriage. I won't do it. I won't do it because you have to sign this government paper saying that you're married and I don't
What's
believe in
got to
that.
do with
I
what's it
don't.
got to do with them?
Right. Why do I have to involve a third party in my relationship with my wife?
Yeah.
Who are you? Why are you getting in the? Are you gonna hold the candle for us?
Well, it's because the corporation, if anything any of their employees do, when you're on the job, you're under their control. Like if you're working at McDonald's, you have to wear a hat. You got to wear a McDonald's hat. It's the same in real life as a citizen. When you want to get married, you've got to get married and get permission from
A,
the state.
a marriage
So,
license. A
yeah,
license
a
to get married.
license.
Fuck you and your license. I don't need your license. And I believe that if a girl wants to be with me, my girl so far she's been with me a couple of years. I'm okay, and she's okay with it. If a girl really wants to be with you, she's gonna sit right there next to you. She's gonna be by your side. You don't need no stupid fucking license,
That's right.
right? And you know what? When it comes down to it, you're giving them permission to do things. Why would you give anybody permission to do anything? They
Why would you
have
need it?
right. Why would you do that? Why would you even put yourself in that position where I say, oh yeah, thank God I have this third party in my relationship. So my
Yeah,
so
they come into.
yeah, so that just in case you think that I'm not a fit parent, you could take my kids away.
That's right. It gives them the right to do all that stuff.
Yeah, it does. That's why they come and take your kids away because you gave them permission by signing that marriage license. Now they're a third party in the relationship. They have
So, and
by law.
that also works in with the birth certificate as well. But, I know what you're saying with the marriage thing. Me and my wife, we were together. I think it was 9 years before we finally decided to get married. And we really didn't want anything to do with the marriage license
Right.
kind of thing, but it was the norm. It was the
Right.
thing to do. So I knew way back then, that things weren't quite the way they seem. But we eventually did get the marriage license. Now, we've been together, what, 26 years. Got two
Wow.
beautiful young girls.
Wow.
And, we do really well. Although I must admit, she's got it pretty tough. My family is pretty tough because I spend a lot of time on the computer, especially learning all this crypto stuff. I've really neglected them a lot in the last few years, especially with activism. I've just been dedicated. If
Right.
anybody wants to question my dedication, gosh, you just talk to either my wife or my kids, and they'll
Well,
tell you just
well, you know
the time
what?
that I spend on it is
You know
just
what?
incredible.
As your kids get older and you teach them what you know,
Well, that's it.
that's what makes it worth what you're learning now.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, that's the only you're the only one that's going to teach them. They're not going to learn it from the public school system. They're not going to learn that stuff. They're gonna
I tell them that too.
they're gonna learn about Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah, right. It's a bit scary sometimes. I've got to tone my youngest one down a bit. She goes in there with these questions from out of left of field, and the teachers don't know how to answer them. They're just they're a bit gobsmacked, a bit flabbergasted. They don't
That's
quite know how to react to her questions,
that's
which
great.
is really great. But I do tell her to just sometimes people don't really know what's going on, even your teachers. And so when you say things
Right.
like that, just expect that they'll either be you could get in trouble, even though you're
Right.
telling the truth,
Uh huh.
or people will color you a certain way. So I do try to tone them down and say you want to walk softly but carry a big stick. Uh,
Yep.
Just have all that knowledge and power in your head, but don't give it away. Just don't let people know what you're thinking or
Yeah.
how you're thinking.
Let them believe that you don't know when you really know.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's just the safer method. But
yeah.
and let them stay ignorant. Whatever. But
No, no, that's cool. Yeah,
and
uh,
what do you think about these other operations like Liquid makes everything transparent that they do. I mean, don't you think there's some type of I mean, there's a few other assets out there
yeah, it's
that
quite.
make things.
I really like what Liquid's doing.
No, me too. And they're amazing.
He's obviously a smart guy, and he's built a good business system there.
But
Um,
what
he's got a bit of
what do you what do you think?
technology information.
You think
Sorry.
you think that the government would come down on them eventually? I mean,
Well, this is
because they're
where
so transparent.
this is what I question. I spoke to my accountant about our business, and it took him a good 6 weeks for him to come back to me, and he just told me in the last couple of days, look, I don't want anything to do with it. It's just not it's not what the system can um, let go. If you're using funds for investment, money, transference, transmission, holding funds like a savings kind of account, um, the way things are going, you're going to be investigated, if not shut down, uh, for laundering money, or you need a license or permit to transfer. Especially if I'm dealing with their fiat currencies, transferring from crypto to fiat and then back into crypto. He said it's just a jungle. It's just a spaghetti junction of possible repercussions. He just didn't want. He advised me to change it, so that it's not so obvious. If I want to carry on doing what I'm doing, just change the wording, change the way that it's being done, so that it's not open to regulation. And certain ways he kind of gave me illustrations, and I've written them down, and I'm starting to put it all together. So I wonder if businesses like Liquid are leaving themselves open to that kind of regulation or
Right.
investigation by the authorities.
Right.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
what
know
I
how
feel.
far he's kind of got involved with it. He may have found a way. Pointermat, for example. I mean, he's dealing with the banks and exchanging fiat for um, crypto. So he's found a loophole there somewhere.
Hmm.
Still, that's tying in directly to the bank. I'm not sure because things are changing so quickly. Uh, I'm not sure how much longer that'll keep going as it is. But he
Right.
might already hit the permits. I don't know. But I like his business as well.
Yeah. No. If you and you know what, and if that's a method of going about things the regulatory way, right? I mean,
Yeah,
if you want to go that route, which a lot of people are in favor of. Me personally, I'm not in favor of that route because I don't like regulation. I don't like any regulation. I don't like to be held down. I don't like rules. As a matter of fact, I'm in my underwear right now. You see, so I don't like rules.
great.
You see, so that but there are people out there that like that. They like to go with the with the system, and
Yeah.
that they have, I respect their opinion.
Well, that's all. I mean, we need it. I mean, we can't all be the same, can
Right.
we? Everyone, we all need to fit in our own niche and what we're comfortable with. And there are some businesses that need to kind of do that type of thing because that's what they do. And they've got the right connections to make that happen, and so that's great. And there are businesses like myself who may not need, or like us, like BitCOR, that may not um, be wired to want to cooperate with the system, but can use in the form of plugins, businesses like Coinomat to provide that facility. So you know what, BitCOR, wrapping it up, we embrace all the technologies. We're not designed to be a single thing. We're designed to share all the benefits of the cryptocurrencies that we feel can supply the right recipe or the right ingredients to create the recipe to provide a more libertarian um, and wealth sharing mechanism. It's hard to kind of
Right.
articulate what BTCOR is because it's morphing
Well,
week to week.
right. It's morphing, and I believe I mean, if there was an asset out there, right, figuratively, say Supernet Radio decides not to tell people what it spends its money on, which I don't. I spend money on tons of subscriptions and
Yeah,
equipment, and I buy equipment for my hosts like DJ Prince, and that's where it goes. But I'm not gonna make it invisible for somebody to audit. No, I'm not gonna do it.
yeah,
I just don't follow those rules. I rather that all be anonymous, because anybody that invests also in that will be hurt if I get hurt.
that's right.
And I don't want to put them at risk. So I rather them not even know. I rather them invest in it and trust in me, because that's what it's about. It's about trust. Lutz has been around a long time. I'm not going anywhere.
That's right. Yeah,
If anything, my job is going somewhere. I can't wait to get out of corporate slavery. But
yeah, exactly. So,
this is what I do. This is my fun, and this is also my same as you. But it's my method of fighting back.
yeah,
I
well,
don't
that's
have.
right. And, I mean, the whole idea was to get outside of the box, and with all this regulation, they're just trying to put us back inside it, and it's not going to work. Whatever they
Right.
try to do, it's just not going to work. It just doesn't. It's like trying to stick a square peg in a round hole. You can lie it across the top of it. It's just not going to fit.
I always have my mind in the gutter. So, uh, so you mentioned earlier that you wrote some articles or something that you weren't able to write. You got in trouble for them when you were you know
Some art.
when you were
Uh,
protesting.
ah, well, I didn't necessarily get in trouble for them, but I took the banks to court, as one example.
All right.
And,
I was thinking you actually wrote, because there are sites that are getting shut down for their content,
ah,
for
I got
whatever beliefs they believe in are getting shut down.
yeah, one of my websites got hacked and just scrambled to crap. I lost all the information on it, and I wasn't shut down officially, but that was what was happening. I noticed a few things. And a little smiley face had come up on a page down the bottom, and some really crazy stuff. Emails.
Right.
Um, I noticed that it seemed like somebody was getting into my computer, um, and so I wasn't officially getting in trouble, but I was noticing a lot of weird things happening. And then I kind of put two and two together and realized that I was really pushing the envelope with this information. And then when Australia came out and said anybody who talks about the security um, um, scandal, even if you're a journalist, will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, and that on top of being slammed down in the courts when I showed the information or asked for the information from the banks to show me where this money came from. And I had, because commercial law is what it's all about. And I had
Right.
evidence and asked for documentation for them to show me where it came from. And they wouldn't show it. And at the end of the day, the judge said, well, it's my decision. I think you've got no standing. Case closed.
Right.
And here's a fine of what was it? The balance that I was supposed to owe the bank was about 3,000, and they ended up fining me $21,000 on top of it for taking them through the court system. So I realised then that logic doesn't prevail. The system of law is their system of law.
It's flawed.
When they say it's justice, yeah, it is. It's just us, just them.
Right. Just the people in the system.
Yeah, just us.
Yeah,
So I kind of realised at that point that it doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong. It matters that it's a matter of national security, and they can do whatever they want,
right.
regardless of if it's against the law or not.
Right.
So
have you heard of?
Leaves us
Have you heard
in
of?
a,
I'm sorry. I was going to ask you if you heard of that new crypto called Red, R3D.
Yeah, I saw that, and I listened to the interview too. It's really interesting.
I mean, I'm fascinated by the fact that they're actually doing, they're actually building a structure of blogging within the blockchain. So you could set up your own blogging. You can say whatever the hell you want because that's never going to come out anymore. You can't stop that.
Yeah.
Which
I like that.
That's great. That's amazing.
That's really,
I mean, who's gonna shut that down? It's all written in a ledger. So
well, logic says that that we have freedom of speech, but we don't have freedom of speech. We think we do.
No.
But,
I mean, I
so
believe
I see all these things coming out, and as far as the authorities want, they can just keep changing the goalposts, and keep moving them up, moving them back, as they wish, to accommodate their corruption. But as I said, it's not far. It's not far from all kind of coming twisting down. I really believe that. I can see the markets are starting on the downward spiral as of last 2 days. So I expect things to hit pretty quickly. Maybe in the next 2 weeks, we should see quite a large drop. I don't know if you've heard anything, and I'm not. Although I do.
I heard there was a crash. Yeah.
Looting.
I heard it's been crashing.
Yes,
it's already crashing.
You're taking gold and silver down with it by the looks. It should. Everybody knows gold and silver should be up.
Yeah, that's not going to last long.
Yeah.
I mean, if silver anytime silver goes in the 14 number, I'm buying.
Yeah.
Low 15s, I still buy. I'm always buying. It doesn't even matter because I'm never selling. So I've been buying
If
ever
you can get a
since.
hold of it, it's great.
I've been buying ever since years, man. 10 years now. I mean, it's
Wow,
I even when it was at 30 to 40, I was buying.
you're buying.
So
It's,
it's a big it's my way of having a life savings that can't be spent.
yeah,
And it can't be taken away from me either. I mean, you'd have to dig lots of holes to find it.
that's great.
So
Yeah, that's definitely the idea. Get yourself into physical, definitely, and that's what one thing that I want to take BitCore. There's obviously a huge trust mechanism needed there because if we're talking physical holdings, 'cause paper ain't gonna last. If we're talking physical holdings, then it's got to reside somewhere, and so people to want to invest in that, they're really going to have to trust the person who's doing that. And at the end of the day, it's got to be me. There's no point in giving that trust to somebody else and then them falling over or taking off. And whereas the head of the BitCore paradigm is can't do anything about it, unless of course there's a third party that we can all mutually trust to hold it. But you know, I
yeah,
swear all the office boxes will get raided, as will bank accounts, whatever they
I like
get.
holding it myself. It's a lot more fun.
Yeah,
There's nothing like taking it out and taking a nice look at it. I mean, after digging it up, doing the work
I
of
know.
digging it up.
Oh look, I got my gold SilverNet SuperNet silver coin the other day from Ponzi. Sent
Oh,
it up to
nice.
me. Oh, they're gorgeous. Oh, they look so beautiful.
Yeah, actually, we're giving away another one. It should be sometime next week. I don't
Oh
like
yeah,
I don't like
it's up.
to I don't really like to tell people because people buy right before and then they sell
Yeah.
right after. So I don't like to give exact dates.
Now you
But
got to send me that. Have you sent me that one in the post yet?
no, I got you hear it? I got it
Oh,
right here.
dog.
It's right here in front of me. You know what it is? I work the overnight shift, so it's
Yeah, make sure it's at number 12 because I need that set, baby.
yeah, it does. That's what it says.
Beautiful.
So yeah,
Oh,
I mean it's I'm all into the metals. That's definitely, and a lot of investment people recommend uh
yeah.
putting 30% of what you have into metals.
Yeah.
That's what I've been reading lately. I probably have like 90%, but
Oh, good.
thirty
Well, yeah,
percent is what they recommend.
yeah, definitely for the long term. But that long term is coming around
You know,
pretty quick.
and
And
BT.
denominations that are usable too. It's not, even though it'd be nice to have a kilo block of gold, um, when you're really hungry or thirsty, dying of thirst, you're going to swap that kilo of gold for a bucket of water.
Oh
So if you get those smaller denominations, I
yeah,
highly recommend doing
Vol,
that.
I forgot the name of it, but Vol. It starts with a V. They sell 100 grams in one sheet, so you could like break
Oh
them
yeah,
off.
Val. I keep thinking Valhalla. Um,
That's what it is.
there's a movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Valrum. Valrum.
It's something like that. It's made by one of those guys that also promote gold and silver to be one of the
Yeah, I looked
your main
into. I was going
investments.
to buy some. In fact, I sent the payment through for it, and it got rejected for some reason. And I looked at it a bit more and thought, oh, I'll leave that for the moment. It was Valrum, something like that. But that's a good idea. But yeah, there's a high premium on those.
Yeah, there is a high premium, but you know what? When it comes time, you'd be able to break a little piece off and spend it the way you
Yeah,
want it. And the
yes,
premium, considering the price right now, and even if you buy it for $2, $3, $4 more,
yeah,
it's. I mean,
still valid.
I personally believe that the metals, especially silver, is going to hit 100 one day. It's going to be up there in the hundreds, if not 100. Two, 300. Just like that one time when When silver,
I tend to think
when
it'll be more than that, but it's
yeah,
not. No, it's not necessarily that it'll be worth so much more money. It's just that the money will be worth less, and
right,
the equivalent will. When we say $50,000 gold ounce, or 10,000 or $5,000 an ounce of gold, well, that's relative to the cost of everything else as well. So it does seem like a lot in our denominations at the moment, but when those times come, it will be a reflection of hyperinflation, for example.
right,
So
and
maybe your loaf of bread will be
well,
a
what it
couple of
is
$100 kind of thing.
what it is the value will go up. But when people think of value, they think of dollars. Value is the perception in
Yeah,
people's eyes. What
that's
what
right.
is more valuable now? So when the dollar crashes and everything turns to shit, gold and silver is going to be a lot more valuable in people's eyes.
Yeah,
They're going to be a lot more hungry for a piece of gold and a piece of silver that's going to be worth more
something
in the
that's going
long
to
run.
retain value, which
Exactly.
is not, which is what our fiat currencies lack intrinsically. They have no value,
Right.
and they are backed 100%
By
by
nothing.
the faith and diligence of the government to ensure that it will tax every individual what is required to ensure that that debt is sustained.
Right. And and then
So,
there's always that what they do is they push it down with the paper value, right? So
yeah,
really, the value you think it is now isn't even the right value because
no, that's right.
the value is just paper value. It's the manipulation in the ETFs, right?
Yeah,
It
BS.
so that's so I don't even look at those numbers anymore. I just look at those numbers to buy it. But
Mm.
I know that it's a lot, and also it has all these other values to it. Me personally, I see a medical value in it that
Yes.
a lot of people they'll tell me I'm crazy. They'll tell me, oh, that's. But you know what? Before the medical field came in, and
Yeah, man.
they were using silver for
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, that's exactly right
They
too.
would put silver at the bottom of the milk so it wouldn't go bad. If you had a cold, you would drink colloidal silver. That would be a remedy.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, the
This is
uses.
another thing. This is another conversation. Big pharma. Um,
Yeah, big pharma. Yeah,
it's
I know
about
all about them.
managing our dis-ease, not curing us, about managing it and ensuring profits. And so a lot of our education is being taken away from us in terms of natural healing, natural uh, natural healing.
The problem comes in that they can't make
Exactly
money
like
off of
silver.
something natural.
Yeah, of course they can't. That's why the marijuana is
Yeah.
illegal,
You
but
can't you can't
alcohol is not.
you can't patent a
Tobacco
peach.
is not.
You can't put a patent on a peach.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. It's just crazy. It's just so discombobulated. But as I said, it's coming to its final kind of thrashing.
I
It's
don't,
not looking
I
pretty.
don't know. I think we got a couple more years still, but I even so tell them to suppress the price lower for me.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't mind. Bring it down to $12, please. I go sell my car.
I think yeah, it should happen. I was listening to an interview the other day about talking about the last crash, and price of gold didn't, in fact, went down along with along with stocks and bonds, and didn't do anything because the dollar stayed strong.
Right, right.
So
As long
um,
as the dollar stays strong, gold metals go low.
yeah,
If the
so
price
even though the
gets
stock
weak,
market will crash very shortly, the dollar, the United States dollar, will be the only game in town. So it'll have to stay strong, and because it's the reserve, most currencies are pegged to it.
And that's the
Um,
threat. That's the threat of crypto. That's why they're so threatened by crypto.
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And
Because
this is
they can't manage it, they can't manipulate it.
yeah,
It will always retain the value that it has. It's a belief system. It's a religion. Like,
yeah. It's also putting the power of the purse back in your pocket.
yeah,
It's I like back in the old days when you used to protect your gold with your gun.
right.
I'd live like that right now. Come and take it. I dare you.
It's yeah, that's great encryption. Yeah,
So unfortunately people like to rely on banks to feel safe.
yeah,
Here, let me give you all the money I've made throughout my whole life. I trust you. And hell no, I don't trust you.
yeah.
No, I
Such
don't
an
trust you. What?
bank safe is such an oxymoron.
No, wait, look what happened in Greece. They couldn't even get their money back.
Yeah,
Hey, no, I don't
six
trust you.
dollars a week. Oh, it's just crazy.
I get people. Why don't you put your metals in a safe deposit box? Get the fuck out of here! I'm not putting my metals in the bank. Crazy?
Yeah,
No way.
yeah.
And it would and that's the whole that's the whole problem with the system at the moment. People don't understand. People don't want to understand. They don't.
Well,
They're happy living in fluoride bliss. It's
well, it's just because we're not told, we're not taught it. We're purposefully kept um, in this little box, and because if we do find out the truth, many people have said previously. I mean, Henry Ford, for example, said, if people ever found out what's truly going on behind this, in the banking system, and there'd be a revolution by the morning.
yeah.
And that's hundred years ago.
Well,
And so they've
people,
made sure that we haven't found out. And so our education is designed to ensure that we don't find out the truth and we live happily with our big plasma TV screens and
with their script of life.
flashy, colourful magazines telling us about Kim Kardashian and Jennifer Aniston and the latest romps, and
Yeah,
television programs of virtual reality,
yeah, yeah.
extolling the virtues of Big Brother. And
Yeah.
we're just such
Go out,
robots almost.
go
Go
outside
to
and
school,
go.
go to work, come home, make dinner, eat,
Yeah,
get
yeah.
back into the same old slog next week. On the weekend, have a barbecue, have a few beers, have a few friends, and then get back to the grindstone.
Go
We just
outside
go
and go
back
outside and
day,
plant a tree.
we go outside and plant a tree. That's right. What happened to that? Why aren't they teaching kids about that at school? Why aren't they teaching them about natural herbal
Yeah,
remedies
clone.
and
Learn how to
baking?
clone a plant.
Like you say, putting a car engine back together, or mixing concrete, building a house. No, they've got to talk about, you know,
They have to talk about
um,
their mistakes in history,
yeah, right, yeah.
and
And in
constantly
fact,
try to
it's real history anyway.
and try
It's Winston
and
Churchill.
try to justify why they were right.
Yeah, yeah,
No, it's sad, really. I mean, if I had the choice, and I hope something comes out of any one of the projects I personally put myself in.
yeah.
I hope it gives me. I don't care about Lamborghinis. I don't care about any of that stuff. The only one
No,
thing I want is my financial freedom.
that's
I
right.
want to be able to be home with my kids and teach them everything I know.
Exactly,
I want to
exactly.
teach them my morale. I want to teach them, my views, my thoughts. I don't
That's
want.
it, brother. That's all we want. And the thing is, you can't do it alone. It's all very well to save up and have a couple of cows and a few chickens and a nice garden to prepare for
Yeah,
the coming collapse. But if you're by yourself and you're a family and you've got no one else around you, well, it's only going to take a group of people to come down the road, take it all off you. You've no longer got it. So it's in a
right,
macro level.
right.
But
Well, they can't find my silver. So
yeah, right. But yeah. So it's about getting communities together, and the more people that we can um, uh, embrace and share these ideas with, then the further our reach becomes. And the more we're protected by our neighbours, I know crypto is very global, but it's a lot smaller than you think. It only takes a few people to make a massive change, and we're there. We're the pioneers. We're innovators.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
trying to do it. If it's not us, it'll be the one that step on our shoulders.
I
And
like
so,
I like the direction that this red is going. I like that direction because
yeah,
creating RSS feeds through the blockchain can enable
right,
anybody to implement it right onto their website,
right,
and then you can't stop it. What are you gonna do? Shut down everybody's website? You can't do that.
yeah, yeah.
It's news, and news
So
will come from the
I have
blockchain.
to look more into that.
What was that?
ID. Oh, I'll look into that more.
Yeah, no, it's. I think it's something we should adapt into. I mean, I saw the videos. It's a big complex right now, but I'm sure they're gonna make it easier. They're gonna make a Windows version, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that they're headed in that direction. Uh, you know,
Am I wrong in thinking that was there um, something maybe from his past that was following him around?
who?
Um, uh, the guy behind the red.
You know what? That's with every developer. You can't really
Is that that's
depend
just
on
some
people.
fun?
You can't depend on people's opinions of other people's reputations.
Yeah, sure. I just wondered if he had disclosed anything about that and what it was about.
I haven't heard anything bad about him. I
Oh,
mean,
that's cool. Oh, that's cool.
there's a few devs I've interviewed in the past. I've heard a lot of bad things about, but you know what? People grow. You know,
Yeah, of course.
you know
We all make mistakes. We learn from our mistakes, and hopefully we come out and take it on the chin and grow stronger and
and they
live
and
fight another day.
fact is they have talents, they have skills, and the
Yeah.
skills now they're putting their skills into something better, something more worthwhile. For all of us, hopefully they bring about a technology that we could all use.
That's exactly it.
And if that's true, then all it takes is a little iPhone app to read these blockchains, these feeds from the blockchain, and that's it. And everybody's going to read it on their phones. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that this is a good direction because it's more adoptable than you're trying to explain how teleport works. It's or
Yes.
or what's that new one, Patty,
Piggy.
Betty.
Piggy.
So, Peggy, yeah, that was it.
Piggy's husband.
And then there's Peggy's husband later on. So in these techniques, people.
Yeah, I can see all these things working, but I guess they're more behind the scenes type situation
Well, this is the fact, House.
rather than a fascia.
I have no qualms in stating the facts. The facts are that they're not working yet. They're working,
Yeah.
but they're not working for people yet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of assets out there that people aren't seeing working, and as you could see, you could tell in the price and across the board that people lose confidence over time. I don't believe it's 100% Ethereum lately that they're saying, oh, people putting all their money in Ethereum. You know what? It's not that they're putting all their money in there. It's that they see something manifesting. But still, the fact is that none of them have come to fruition.
Yeah, it's still not working. It's
They're
still an
not
idea.
they're not working. All right, SuperNet radio asset. At least my asset is up and running and working.
It works.
It works.
Yeah, that's right.
I have
I'm so
over 100
surprised
shows.
that I'm beside myself surprised that you're not much bigger, much more larger, have a big subscription base, have paid advertising. You should be everywhere. I'm
Well,
beside myself. I don't understand why that doesn't happen. And so I'm going to wrap that up. We will wrap that up with BitCOR, BTCOR.
BTCOR is working.
We're going to really help and support with SuperNet Radio and drive forward with you guys. But we've been talking between ourselves as Lutz,
Yeah.
the direction that you're going to go. So there's some great things on the horizon, man. I'm really excited by what's coming for
Oh
you
yeah,
guys.
oh yeah. I have and just to throw it out there, I am I am trying to decentralize the radio station.
Yeah.
And it'll be loaded into its own platform, and
It's really exciting news.
yeah. So and it'll be peer to peer broadcasting, so you can't really shut it off.
Yeah.
You would have to find the source, and that hopefully I'll have some assistance with hiding
Yeah.
in a
Uh,
different country.
yeah.
So
Sure.
yeah.
Much like Pirate Bay.
Right. So they could shut down my websites and they could shut down anything they want, but they can't stop it, and that's my main goal. Uh,
That's good.
but other than that, we have other things going on, side streams. We have a pool, a multi pool, where
Yes.
once hopefully it becomes even bigger, and once I get revenue from that, it'll flow into the asset, and uh, I have other projects I'm not going to disclose at the moment, but I'm always working 24/7. So
Yeah. I know you are, brother. It's really good.
BTCOR is gonna be all amazing, and if there's anything that comes out of it, uh, it's going to be something good. It's going to be trust.
Yeah.
What people should understand is trust is a big deal. All right, it's a big
It's
deal. You can say, oh, I want to see visibility here and there. No, for your safety, you probably don't want to see that.
Yeah.
You want to trust somebody. You want to trust that this
There's a
somebody's
fine
going to
line.
make you some money. That's it.
Yeah. There's a fine line, I guess. People do want to see where their money's going and what's happening behind the scenes, but you don't see how you don't get to see your company's accounts when you go to work.
Right.
You don't get to see any of that. You just you do your job and you earn your money. We don't get to see any of the government's actions, and we don't get to see what happens behind the scenes in our banks when we put our money in the banks.
Right.
That's what you know.
Yeah.
Not
So
that that's a very good example, but
what people.
you don't need to. It just slows business down and inhibits growth. And I'm not trying to suggest that let me just organize the way that I want to do it, and you guys just trust what's going to happen.
Right.
It's not going to work like that because first and foremost we've got a team behind it, and if you can respect any one member of those any one of those team members, then you can respect BT Core as a whole because we all operate together. And if anyone finds that there's something that's a bit fishy or a bit wrong, we can jump on it straight away. Unless we have
Right.
unanimous decisions on everything within our executive board, things aren't implemented. We're not operating like that. It's not a dictatorship. It was to begin with because I needed to get things off the ground, get things running,
Mm-hmm.
but it does not no longer work like that. So there is a mechanism to ensure trust, and that is our team. So to have any more transparency than that to the general population, I think is maybe just a little bit more redundant
Right.
and not necessary. It just create more headache and allow regulation and compliance costs to factor in, which just goes against everything that we're about. We
Right.
don't want to be part of their system. They don't
Exactly.
own us. They didn't develop crypto. In fact, crypto was developed to counter them. And so for them to want to put in KYC and regulatory and licensing, it's just so wrong. And for anybody in that space to think that this is the right thing to do, they must be in bed with them. They have to be, because that goes against everything that it was designed for.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. And it goes against crypto exactly. The whole idea behind it. So so what I want people to take away from this, if they take anything, is trust. You have to trust, and people put trust in these bad developers out there, and they leave their coins, and then they put trust in other people, and they see that things are going well still. even if they look like they're not, at least the person is there, and the
Yes.
person is working hard. I mean, James, for example, right? I mean, I think everybody here puts their trust in James.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about trust. So that's, I want people to take that with them. You know, from, if they take anything from this show, take the trust idea with you, because you know, you could trust your government. You could if you want. I wouldn't. You know. You know, or you could trust, you know, the person standing next to you.
It's in context too, I guess. There's certain things that we need to trust people for.
Right.
And there's certain things, you know, that they can't be trusted for. You wouldn't trust an alcoholic to keep the key to your alcohol cupboard
Right.
safe somewhere, but you could probably trust them with looking after your dog. You know, or, you know, everything is in context. I think you can't just take a brush and paint something black. You know, it's similar to what our military is set up to do. You know, it sees everything as a well, it's a hammer, and it sees everything as a nail. So it throws military or police forces at things, um, expecting the nail when you know, it's a screw, or it's a drawing pin. And,
Right.
so we end up with these really crazy scenarios where people are getting killed or harassed through very simple things. You know, and a classic example is medical issues. You know, there are countless medical issues. Let's not get into the reasons why, but
I could
one,
talk all day about that.
yeah, but countless medical issues that people are having, and
Yeah.
and the military or police force, or should I just say military police, um, attack these people like they're criminals. You know, like marijuana, people who like to smoke marijuana. You know, if anything, it should be a medical issue. An ambulance should be turning up, not a bunch of cops, you know,
Right.
or a squad,
Right.
whatever they're called.
And then
So,
it all comes down to your body being your property.
yeah, that's right.
If you want to kill
And
yourself, you kill yourself. I mean, it's your body. It's your property.
it's your property, that's right. And it goes back to because we're wards of the state or property or an employee of a corporation, that we're not able to, because we're always coming from that perspective. It's not until we're able to establish that we are not that, that they no longer have control over us. But if they allow that and allow one person to do it, then everybody will do it and everybody will find out. So they can't. So they subvert the law to ensure that we don't have that option. You know, regardless if you use the court system. The court system isn't there for our liberation, it's there for our incarceration.
It's there for lobbyists.
Yeah, right. Also.
It's there to help them out, so they could get what they want.
Well, look, you know, I love the crypto space. I've learned so much, met some awesome people, some really, really good people. At the same time, I've learned that there's some people who just like to rip you off.
Yep.
But I guess that's a bit of a problem with anonymity in crypto, is that you can get taken for a ride, and I've been taken for a few. Unfortunately, I do have a bit of a trusting soul,
Right.
well, a trusting side to me, where I like to give people the benefit of the doubt
Yep.
and give them a chance to prove themselves. And so I've been burnt in the process a couple of times, and in fact made it even worse by trying to stick up for them and give them the benefit of the doubt and try and shut down a few heroes, saying that, you know, just give this guy a chance, and ended up that, yeah, they were right and I was wrong, and I was learning, but I do tend to trust a bit too much sometimes. And there's, you know, it is I guess it's a small fault, but I've still got to trust people. You know,
Yeah.
it can be a dark world if I just lose all trust in people, and I don't want to go there.
Right, and you end up forming the ones that you do trust. You end up forming good relationships with those good ones.
It's exactly right, and that you take that for the rest of your life. You take that with you.
Exactly, exactly. All right, man. I think we know all about how House thinks and how House House his ideas and his goals.
Yeah, look, there's so much more. There's so much more for us to talk about, and I'm sorry we couldn't get into the nuts and bolts of a bit more of BitCore. We can do that again soon. There's just a few things that need to be changed, and we're talking, as you know, in-house
Right,
about how to make these changes. So
right,
it's probably just best that we leave all that information until it is a lot more solid. And
right.
when I say that, I'm talking maybe 2 weeks maximum. But
Well,
I'd love to talk again in a week's time, or from
yeah. Well,
whenever
this
we
show
can have a
is
conversation.
all about an introduction to House. It wasn't really an introduction to BT
Yeah,
Core,
yeah,
even though House is BT Core. Uh, so that's a fact. So, but you need to know the developer before you could trust the coin. So I don't see the difference here. You need to know
yeah.
the person behind it, and this is
Well,
what this
trust
show
me,
is
yes, yeah,
about.
yeah,
All right. So and in a few weeks' time, come back on, and I'd love to have you and introduce. We could introduce BT Core. You
yeah,
know,
exactly.
and BT Core is doing some amazing things behind the scenes, medals and
Yeah, yeah. We've got some pretty cool stuff going on.
different trading
The new
vehicles.
our new platform as well that
Mm-hmm.
we'll be bringing out soon. We're so much more. There's so much more to us, But it's been really difficult to try and keep the information from coming out because I hate to put something out, ideas out there, and then
And then
not come to fruition straight
right,
away, or
right.
it just doesn't lend to credibility that much. But there is some really exciting stuff coming up. As just take a scour through the list of our team members, and you'll get an idea of what's coming.
Right,
So,
right. And we have some
but yeah,
great developers on the team,
oh
and
man,
we have great
we're
minds.
gosh,
minds.
with us good people. Oh, it's incredible. So if anything, people should be throwing money at it because it's not. I'm telling you, the
Well,
price that it is at the moment is just it's a spit in the ocean. It
well,
really is.
unfortunately, a lot of people put their trust in things that haven't even come out yet.
Ah,
Where me and you, we actually have an asset that is working, and just
we're
getting better, and getting
it's
and
getting
upgrading.
better. And look, yeah, I, I, I won't say too much. I won't say any more, but look, it's a bargain at the moment. But, I've already taken, as you can see, I've taken the series ventures, most of the series ventures off
Yep.
because that's going to change shortly. But I've left that tranche for BT Core. That's the last tranche at that price. You'll see.
Right.
So
I
I
still
think there's about
I still
20K up there at the moment.
I still
Um,
have the original BT car you gave me
oh,
at the price of 6 when you were giving them away for free.
oh, well, that was.
I still have them. I
I
never
gave
sold them.
about 50 of them away, didn't
Yeah,
I?
yep. I had,
Well,
yeah, and I have a little more because I bought more afterwards.
oh, good job.
But
That was great. That
I
was fun. Those early days, trying to find the way through.
and
Do you
if I
remember that little dog that I put on?
yeah, yeah,
The,
it's evolved. It's evolved. You and the
I like.
idea has come together very slowly. I've watched it come together. I didn't understand it at first at all, but you
Oh,
understood it, and that's all that really mattered. And that's what it comes down to. Uh, I had no idea what was going on with it, but I just held on to it. It was 50. I was like, whatever. What am I going to
yeah,
dump it for? 20, 20
yeah.
NXT. It was stupid. So I was like, I'll just keep it. And I kept it. And and then now today the price is what 15. I think I saw 18 at one point.
Yeah,
I mean,
15.
and that's like 4 times more. And I still think
They
it's gonna
started off
go
at
to
one.
100.
Started off at one next. All of them did. I started them all off at one next to
Wow.
generate a bit of interest.
And that's not
BTCOR started off at one. I think that's when I sent them out at that as a freebie, 50 shares of BTCOR. That was at one next. So now So they're 15 times. If they're 15, then that's 15 times what they were originally worth. So you're looking at pretty fantastic return on investment with that, especially given it's free. Well, there's so much more, and there's so much more to learn, and there's lots of new tech coming out. There's some great developers coming to the fore. Bitcoin looks like it might. Well, who knows what's going to go on with Bitcoin with this forking idea. But there's a few other technologies that are going to eclipse it in terms of application. So whether Bitcoin keeps its
Strength.
keeps its strength is pretty questionable. I'm not sure how far that will go. But given it was the flagship, maybe they'll do something with it that'll keep it
Hey,
at the front.
if it's not Bitcoin, it'll be Bitcoin Dark. If it's not Bitcoin Dark, it might be Litecoin. Who knows?
Yeah, hey, I like Bitcoin
I mean,
Dark.
we
I
have
like GCD.
we have alternatives.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah,
that's.
there's plenty of alternatives.
I mean, and there's alternatives with huge development teams behind it. I mean, you know, not to be you know, all biased here. You know, it might be Ethereum, might be Counterparty, might be BitShares. Who knows? I don't know. You know, but there's alternatives, and that's the fact. You know, BTCOR, and normally the first prototype is never the one that actually becomes the, you know, throughout history, right? The first one who creates it isn't the one that becomes famous.
Yeah.
It's always the second guy that duplicates it and mass produces it and makes it better. Which I think was done with just like U.S. Steel, right? U.S. Steel was like the most popular, and then eventually now China makes it better, right?
Yeah. Well, there's always room for improvement and improving anybody's business. You can take anyone's business and, you know, especially if they've started it from scratch and put in all the hard yards, and then someone comes out with a fresh mind, gets the good idea, understands the concept, and just puts his fresh mind to it and improves it. And that's natural. It's just natural growth. It would be good to keep these growth spurts in-house, but you can't contain progress. Every generation is going to be improved by the one previous. Well, we hope so anyway. So, you know, I have a strange way of thinking about corporations. For example, I think a lot of the wealth should have been shared between employees rather than making businesses big. Because now businesses have more rights than people. It should never have been that way.
Right. But they say and you'll hear them say, "Oh, corporations are people," you know, whatever.
Yeah. Well, persons.
Right. All right. I'm gonna have to cut us short now.
Yeah, brother.
Because I have to get back here. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, I realize you got work going on there too.
Yeah. But
right.
Great to have you. Maybe we could have you next time on a Saturday when I'm not working. And you know, we could go on more about this. And you see, most people are like us in this crypto land. We're very individual, very liberty-minded people.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Cool, Lutz, baby. I love you. I love SuperNet Radio.
Love you too.
I love you guys. You know, I'm just doing what I do. I'm just trying to put good work out there and keep everybody safe and send lots of love through crypto.
All right, brother. Everybody, thank you for joining us. I'm happy you guys came to the show. If you missed the show, you could always listen to the show on supernetradio.com or Supernet Radio SoundCloud. We're on SoundCloud. We're on Mixler. We're on Mixcloud. We're all over the place. We're everywhere. If you can't find us, and we're only on the first 10 pages of Google. All right, fellas. Thanks for coming. And Lutz is out, and so is House.
Yeah, I'm out too. All right, peoples.
Later, brother.
Good stuff. Bye for now.